And we're back here on The Mix with our first guest, author William Anderson Gittins, and his book, People, Volume 2. Now, before we went to break, we talked about the whole process of researching for the book, researching information for the book, and pulling it together. But I really want to nitpick, get into who is William Gittins. And he's really kind of shy, so it's been like, you know, pulling the information out of him. But I know a couple of things about him already. One is he actually used to work here at CBC. So, William, tell us about that part of your life.
Oh, I really enjoy that aspect. As a videographer, a freelance videographer, my job description entailed going out to scenes, recording incidents, covering sports, things for the newsroom. That was a lot of fun. And if I saw anything that I thought would be newsworthy, I'll capture it with the camera and offer some ideas to those persons who are responsible for putting out news. And that was a lot of fun. I enjoy that because actually that's part of the package of being a media artist. It's a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. You can manipulate images. You can manipulate things with the technology, and use your various angles to make definitive points. So it's really interesting.
You also were I think it's the first ever
Official police artist.
official police sketch artist. That's got to be a really cool job. How did you get that position, and what has being the police sketch artist entail?
Well, initially I was a police officer, but they utilized my skills in that area. And all it required was that the person who fell a victim to a particular circumstance would come to the office, and my responsibility was to have a discussion with them to extract from them those critical areas to help form the sketch. But I must caution you that having the natural ability as an artist is always good, because what you can bring to the fore in creating a semblance of the person who committed the crime helps tremendously.
How do you get people who are traumatized by a crime that may have occurred, especially if it's a personal crime, not one that they've witnessed, it happened to them, to be able to give you the details of the person's face or something about them, and you translate that into paper? Because somebody will tell you, oh, he had a big nose, and then when you actually see the person, you think, no, not really. And eyewitness accounts are always less than reliable. So how do you get the person to give you the details you need for you to make that sketch as realistic as possible?
Well, let me say that the first thing the artist should have is knowledge. Having a knowledge base of people, eyes, nose, ears, and so on, different cultures. You work with the people, and the next thing you must also do is to try to offer some empathy and sympathy to the person and try to work with them and get them to relax. And it's a process. It takes time. You do what you can, you stop, and the person's ready again, then you go back and you solicit more information and you work with them, and that helps.
Now, you would think that the job of a police sketch artist should be fairly, what's the word I'm looking for? Risk-free, because to a large extent, you're taking these sketches and the information to make the sketch in the actual police station. But were there any risk involved in the job?
Never really had any risks. Like all the work I do, I enjoy it, and I try to get people to relax, so that helps tremendously.
Let's get back to this book, People, Volume 2. It's filled with sketches, all of which were done by you. So tell me a little bit about that whole process. Once you identified the particular person that you wanted to talk about, how did you go about doing the sketch?
Well, I looked for images of the subject or the icons, and then I brought my own flair and style to the icon. And each artist has his or her way of approaching dealing with things. So I'm an illustrator, so I just decide, and I must say that in a few minutes I had these illustrations completed. Again, I say that having the natural ability helps tremendously. It's not anything that you can force. It comes natural. If it's part of you, it just flows.
It just flows. The technology now allows so many people to self-publish.
Yes.
So the old process of sending your manuscript to a publisher and hoping that they like it and that they do all the grunt work for you, you can now do all of that yourself. So explain to viewers out there who may be thinking, oh, I can do that. I've got a book in me that I've always wanted to write. What is the process of self-publishing?
Well, I've always said to people that even though you don't have the tools for publishing, here's where you can start. Persons may say they don't have the time. You can invest in a small tape recorder, and the things that you would want to publish, you can speak those things onto the tape recorder. And at some point, you can hook it up to your system, that is your desktop, and it will print out the words for you. You might not be able to type, but you can get someone to type for you, okay? And your responsibility will be to share all your information and let that person type it out for you and format it and things like that, which I do for myself. I do all my typing, format it myself, and the only thing that I allow other people to do for me is to do editing. I do a bit of that myself as well. When you're satisfied that all those things have been taken care of, then you have to look at how I'm going to print this, whether I'm going to print it in soft paper or hard paper, whatever. But then cost is also critical, so you take into consideration what your budget is like and you work with that. What I've discovered by doing that, that helps. So then always you have to invest in a very good printer.
Okay.
And I find that having a good printer helps me tremendously. Then you can also take that a bit further. You can also
So you're printing the first,
well, some of
the
them
very first issue yourself.
but then
against-
I would
and then
utilize
okay.
someone else to print in bulk for me, because the printer really can't
Can't
all
do
of
the
that,
number of copies you want to
know,
do.
right.
You've got an ISBN number, which is a very, very good thing. So as against a book that may be a novel where you may not necessarily need an ISBN number, you chose to have an ISBN number.
Yes.
What's that like?
I visited the National Library Service and tell them what I would like to do, and you would give them the name of the book, and they will ask for like how many copies you plan to do, the year of it, and what type of book is it, and so on. And they make the appropriate arrangements for you, because this information is sent off to Guyana, and then they will contact you, and they will give you the ISBN number.
What are you hoping for this book? Because just in browsing through it quickly, there's so much information in here and it's attributed to so many sources. What are you hoping for this book?
I'm hoping that this book will, one, be used as a historical book, an educational book, and nostalgia as well. And cause people to sit up and think of the contributions that other persons would have made in society and the struggles they've gone through to get where they're at. Because nothing is easy, but you must persevere.
Okay. Where can I buy a copy? Can I get it in local bookstores?
The only bookstore that is carrying this book at this point in time is Cloisters. All the Cloisters bookstores are carrying it, and it's also on DVD as well.
Great. So you know what's my next question? I can go on Amazon and buy a copy and download it to my iPad and read it wherever I am.
Not as yet, not as yet. I'm giving some consideration to that, because one of the things that people are not aware of, when you submit your work to Amazon, they take funds from your account. I think it's on a weekly basis, whether the book sells
or not. Okay.
So I'm still toying around with the idea.
Okay. Are you hoping for it to become a document, a book that's read in schools? Because as I said, there's so much historical information
Certainly,
in here.
certainly, certainly.
Okay. Well, William Gittins, I really want to thank you. This has been really, really great. I look forward to being able to flip through my own copy and learning some stuff, because I've seen things in here that already I know was information that I didn't know before. And I hope that you get a lot of copies sold and that the Ministry of Education takes a look at it, because it's a great book filled with information about Barbadians and other people who've made contributions to society as a whole, not just here in Barbados. And you've done a tremendous job on just the research and pulling it together.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. That's William Gittins there telling us all about his book. It's called People, Volume 2, and it's by William Anderson Gittins. You can get it at every cloister on the island, so go on out and get yourself a copy. Now, as you know, we're in the month of November.